been asked about the average rate of growth in this question. So let's just think about what rate of growth means to start with. Well, it's basically the gradient of the graph. So if I wanted the rate of growth at 1970, well, actually that'd be quite hard to find, but I'd have to draw a tangent and then estimate it. And you can see the rate of growth is just slowly increasing as we go along. But ultimately, it's going to be how population changes with years, and we're going to be doing the population divided by years. A bit like when you do speed equals distance over time on a distance time graph. So if we want the average rate of growth between 1951 and 2015, what we want to do is draw a triangle to clearly see the rise over run. So I can see I'm going along this many years. We can work out how many exactly in a minute. And then I'm going, my population's increased by a certain amount. Okay, and let's work out what that is. So this height here, we can read off. Each of these little squares is going to be 0.2, so it's going to be 7.4 minus, I just need to be careful, I read it off from here, minus 2.6, and that will be 4.8. And then along here, it's going to be 2015 is the last year, minus 1951. So 1951 to 2000 will be 49 years. Add on 15, that'll be 5964. Okay, so then remember though, this is in billions. So the average rate will equal 4.8 divided by 64. Let's see what that gives us. And by the way, like a range of values will be allowed because you're not necessarily going to read off the graph exactly the same as I have. So 0.075. Now I feel like, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this. I think it should be absolutely fine to say 0.075 billion, but then it wants the units for my answer. So billion people is actually one of the units, and then it's per year. The mark scheme doesn't give it quite like this. Instead, it sort of suggests you might change it to million, and I do see that as a more sensible unit. So you might say 75 million people. But for ease of answering the question, it just feels like this is okay. But yeah, that's what they say. You might even write that in figures. So if you times 75 by a million, then you might write that as your answer. Just this people per year. So just a few different ways it can be answered. I think this should be right, but the main thing is making sure you put a unit in and remembering how to find this average.